I was going through my podcast today, doing some editing and production for my episodes, and realized that just a couple of weeks ago, I crossed the 400 episode mark, which is really an incredible achievement. It's probably the most consistent thing I have done in my business. And over the last 10 years, I have been mastering the process of storytelling and interviewing hundreds of entrepreneurs on my show and working with hundreds more in my business. And one thing about storytelling is often we want to find the stories that involve or begin with a moment of pain, a turning point. These turning points often happen when something so painful occurs in the person's life that they are forced to make a change. And after hearing so many hundreds upon hundreds of stories, I have found myself thinking and hoping many times that because I have heard all of these stories, I might be able to or learn from them and use them in my own life. But it turns out that having stories and moments like this is a very human experience. And the pattern that I have observed in seeing so many of these stories is that as humans, we are brilliant at doing our best to avoid pain. And often the process of avoiding pain will make the pain larger and larger until it's something we can no longer ignore and are forced to listen to the message. We all have our own ways and styles and methods of avoiding pain. Some people work to avoid pain. Some people enjoy substances or activities of one kind or another. Sometimes they appear healthy on the surface until it gets to the point where it's really visible that it's a problem. And sometimes it's clear that they're not healthy at all. Over the last few years, and particularly the last few months, I have been experiencing or maybe avoiding a lot of pain and grief and fear when it comes to my family. My mother has been having a lot of health challenges recently, and I have done more than most could to support and help. Thanks to my network, I've been able to connect her with some of the best doctors in the business in the world and offer help and support and insights through there. And sometimes it feels like we're making progress, and a lot of times it feels like we're stepping backwards. And losing parents and loved ones is a fundamental and frankly unavoidable human experience. But like many of the entrepreneurs that I have seen and spoken with and worked with, the process of trying to avoid this pain in my life, avoid facing it and feeling it and experiencing it, has caused problems in my business, in my health, and in my personal life. Avoiding the grief that is present with me has caused me to be distracted and not showing up as organized or excited, creative as I would like to be in my work. I've also hurt other people in my life that I claim to care about a lot, and find myself at this same kind of turning point that I experience many times working with the guests on my podcasts. One of my favorite authors and creators out there, his name is Mark Manson, and he has a great quote about this idea that the seeking of a pleasurable experience is a painful experience, and the acceptance of a painful experience is actually a pleasurable one. And this is something that I have been finding and discovering in reflecting on my own process that I've been going through. Pain can be a great teacher. It can be a great motivator. It can be the greatest opportunity for you to grow and become the person that you want to be. And hearing from many, many high achievers out there, we are all very, very talented at doing our best to avoid that pain and using our skills and talents to put it off for as long as possible. But the longer you turn away from the pain, the longer you try and avoid it, the larger the consequences will be and the louder it will get until you start to listen. I don't know what listening means for you, and I'm just figuring out what it learns to me. But it seems like this is a part of everybody's life and everybody's experience. And so I hope that you can hear me in this and look inwards to find what pain you are avoiding and find a way to have the courage to start to feel it and listen to it and lean into it before it gets so bad that you can't focus on anything else. But if it gets to that point, don't worry, because in addition to hearing so many hundreds of stories about the moment that got so bad that things needed to change, the good news is that for all of these people, things did change. And it was the turning point to coming into a greater alignment with their true vision, with their true selves, bringing their business, their personal life, their health, their family back into alignment and more complete. So I hope this message resonates, and I hope that you can be a little bit smarter than I am and take this to heart before the pain starts speaking so loudly. Thank you. I believe in you, and I believe in me.